Cath, it's lovely to have you on my YouTube, and thank you very much indeed. And I'm so overwhelmed by your wonderful pelargonium collection. So I'm sure everybody knows you from your eponymous brand, which you started, the Cath Kidson. All those beautiful patterns, fabrics. We've got your wallpaper in our bathroom, you did build up to 250 shops.
I did, I know.
Amazing.
Amazing looking back.
And you've got that lovely book on, you've got that lovely fabric pattern. What is your pattern business called?
I now have a business called Joy of Print.
Joy of Print.
Yeah.
And you've written lots of books about home interiors. Your latest one I love.
Place called Home.
A Place Called Home. And it's all, and I do think that designers, whether you're indoors or out in the garden, you approach design very much from a design background, and so it all comes together whether you're doing it inside or out, and that's very strong in your home and obviously in your garden. But let's talk about your pelargoniums, because this is your latest venture, your C.Atherley. Explain how you came to call this wonderful collection of bath oils and creams C.Atherley.
So first of all, welcome to my greenhouse. And high praise from you from my geraniums. Yes, a new brand, C.Atherley. Atherley is an old family name of mine, my grandmother's name.
Yes.
And it died out as a surname with her generation. And so various members of my family have it as their second names and so on. And I just wanted to keep a family memory. You know, all my love of gardening and plants and things comes really from all the women in my family, both my grandmothers and so on. So I thought I'd celebrate my Atherley connection and my granny and call the business C.Atherley, adding my initial in for a bit of personalisation. Yeah.
And you say C.Atherley, not C.Atherley, because sometimes I've heard you say C.Atherley and it's almost like it's one word. It's a rather nice word.
Do you know, I've never thought about it until I think lots of people think it's called Catherley. Actually, it is C.Atherley, however you want to say it.
And you chose these favourite plants of yours to make the wonderful scent. And which show us the geranium that you used initially to make it from.
I've got one here, it's the Radens plant. If anyone's familiar with this plant, it was very difficult to draw. It's got very detailed leaves.
And the drawings we see on your branding, did you do those?
Yeah, we did.
You
all
yourself?
Started out. I do all the sketches. And
Right.
I can't work the computer, so I've got a lovely, much younger team who translate everything.
So you will draw it,
so
and they will. How do they photograph it then?
No, I'll do sketches, and I'll send them, and I'll photograph all the different plants. So they're done now on the computer. You know, so I'll create the concept, and then the team will develop the concept. So I think we laid out all the branches, the flowers, and the packaging for C.Atherley, everything. Each fragrance, so geranium number 1, based on Radens, has Radens leaves on the packaging. And it's all very accurate, everything from the fragrance to the decoration back to the plant. Isn't that a magical smell? It's amazing.
Laid back but invigorating, a really weird combination.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's sort of, I kind of think, I was trying to write, they said, can you please write the packaging about the plant? And I was saying, it's calming, it's uplifting, and they went, really, is it everything? And I said, well, it kind of does encapsulate so much. But at the end of the day, I feel that sort of balancing feel of it says it. It just puts one into a really good space.
I totally agree. So I think everyone looking at this will think, wow, how does she keep them like that? So will you give us a sort of 5 good tips of how you keep your pels looking like this? So you bring them into the house first of all. So everyone who wants to bring one of these and put it on their dressing table, can you give us some hints? Say, how long would you keep it in a darker room than in a greenhouse? How long will they tolerate that?
Oh, it's quite. The ones that aren't scented, like these variegated ones, the more what are called sort of basic, I guess, common geraniums. They're quite
basic.
tough.
So already you've got a hierarchy, haven't we? So we've got the more traditional pelargoniums, which our grandmothers had more perhaps than these scented.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
But these ones are quite hardy. Some of them survive outside in the winter.
Yeah.
and
I
all of
found
that. They have much brighter, bigger flowers.
They're slightly cruder, would you say?
Yes, there's a slight snob thing around them
Yeah,
like that.
I think
But they're very useful in the winter. They flower all year round if you look after them enough.
Yes.
And so I will bring them in and leave them in. Really, they could be in a fairly dark place for a couple of weeks. But the ones I love bringing in are these scented ones. And they are very temperamental. They like the light and they sort of acclimatise to the greenhouse. So when they come in the house, I might bring them on a Friday.
Yes.
If I've got friends staying or something, do a lovely display with them all. And then put them back promptly on a Monday. So they're quite needy. They need lots of attention.
If you leave them in the house too long, what happens? They just go yellow.
Yeah, the leaves start to go yellow and they don't look very happy. I have to deadhead them and give them a bit of TLC when they come out.
They do have tremendous powers of recuperation, I think. I mean, my greenhouse, mine are mainly looking dead at the moment because it's not heated, but they will come back. And some of them are just starting to shoot back now, and I've just started taking cuttings, but they don't look anything as lovely as yours. And moisture, how much water? I notice you haven't got capillary matting.
Yeah, no.
And Wootton's of Wenhaston, who I always think it's sort of one of the top pelargonium nurseries, they always say it's not good. And I do put mine on capillary matting because it saves me time.
Yeah.
But you don't, as you've just got little saucers.
I tend to water them about once a week. I think the thing they dislike the most is too much water, particularly in winter. I mean, generally, they don't like their roots drowning, do they?
No, they don't like too much wet. And feed, do you give them lots of liquid feed or put it in the compost?
Not at this time of year. I will when they sort of a bit further down the line.
Yes.
I mean, maybe the ones that are flowering now, like that early one, I should feed, and I haven't thought to do it. Somehow in my mind comes sort of Easter time, I start gentle feeding, then build up.
Yeah.
But that's just my tradition, but I'm not sure if that's right or not.
No, I think it is. Generally, when something's not in growth and really pumping out the leaves, you don't want to feed them. And deadheading, they do respond well to that, don't they? And you presumably deadhead the florets, you don't wait till the whole thing goes, you just pick off the little florets.
Yeah, I do, and I'll sometimes lop a branch off or something. But I think the problem I've got here is I did give all of these a light kind of cut in the autumn to fit them all in, actually.
Yes.
And this winter there's been periods where it's been incredibly warm. I mean, February we've had days where it's like baking hot, and so they've grown slightly out of control. And at some stage I'm going to have to give them really, I mean, this needs a serious haircut. But I don't think I should do it just yet, do you? If I wait a bit longer.
I mean, looking at me with my mouth salivating with all these potential cuttings, I think a little light trim over now would be perfect. To be honest though, the only thing that would worry me is if you cut them back hard now and then we got a cold snap.
I'm sure we will.
I think we might.
May can be really tricky, can't it?
Yeah, and we're now
all over.
mid-Feb, so I just think you could just have a bit of a problem. That one looks lovely, doesn't it? It looks such a perfect shape.
Is it Mabel Gray? Should I bring
it down?
Is it?
Yes, she's lovely, isn't she? A lovely shape. She almost looks like a peony to me somehow, that shape.
Yeah. My friend had two of these and they were like complete matching pairs. Bobbles, beautifully clipped.
Lovely.
So maybe one day I'll be able to get the shape absolutely perfect. That's got a really lemon scent. It's amazing. Very strong smell.
Yes.
Yeah?
And I always remember seeing, I don't know where it was, but they had beautiful standard pelargoniums. So they grew them up on a straight stem, which was good. And then they had this lovely mop head standard at the top. And I've often aspired to that.
I think Badminton House have these really famous, very tall ones.
Oh, right. Caroline Somerset.
Well, maybe she started, I think they were started from, I don't know, a Duchess many years ago, you know, like they've been there a long time.
Right.
And I think she was a tremendous gardener too.
Yes,
but I know they're famous for all these incredible standard geraniums.
I always remember her telling me, I interviewed her for the Telegraph, I think, that all their greenhouses were built against south-facing walls. And she said now, with climate change, they're too hot.
Yeah.
Whereas we always used to think the perfect place for the greenhouse was a south-facing wall.
I know, it's amazing.
Now it's not so easy. And mine, I've got one actually on a north-facing wall, which seems bonkers, but it does work pretty well for tomatoes, cucumbers, pelargoniums and things. And some people who haven't got a greenhouse just overwinter them by lifting them out of the compost, and cutting the tops off and putting them in a frost-free place, and then renovating them in the spring as they burst into growth, which always seems incredibly cruel, but it works.
It's quite brave, isn't it? If they're in a dry place, dry place and covered and so on.
Frost-free, dry place, just the roots, and then cut them back. Yeah, so they are very hardy plants.
I haven't tried that.
But it takes them longer to get back into growth, obviously, if you do something like that. Well, they are wonderful. Thank you very much for all your time and for showing off your wonderful collection to me. And I understand you're having a new greenhouse.
This is eventually. I need some space because, like you were saying now, this is ripe for so many cuttings. But I need your Hydra, your box, your special box to get things going. HydroPod, this wonderful machine which I take all my cuttings in, and pelargoniums, it works like a dream, yes. No, they will root with me in 2 weeks or so easily with one of those. So, I want a cutting screen. I want to have space. All the cuttings, look after them and all of that.
And then you'll have another greenhouse after that. The thing is, you never have enough glass. That is one thing a gardener suffers from. There's never enough glass. Anyway, lovely. Thank you very much. And good luck with your wonderful perfumes and creams. I love the smell of them. They're absolutely divine. And they work perfectly.
Good. Thank you very much.